What's going on, guys? Today on Operation Get Lost, we are in the shop and we are going to be fabricating a new fridge slide for my new fridge freezer from Hills Offroad Gear. Stay tuned. So for today's project, we are going to be using primarily 1/8 inch by 6 inch rolled flat bar stock. I'm thinking that this, once it's all welded together, should be pretty sturdy and strong, but that's what the majority of the project's going to be. And we are also going to end up using a little bit of some 1/8 by 2 inch as well. So first things first, we got to get everything cut down to size so we can start setting this up and getting it tacked together. So let's get cutting. Alright, so now we actually got a first couple pieces cut that we need down to size. It's time to get them grinded down, cleaned up, and get them ready to get tacked together. All right, so we got everything cleaned up, ground down, wiped down with some acetone to remove anything left over. So we're ready to get it set up so we can start tacking it together and see how this is going to work out. Basically, I got a bunch of magnets right here. I got my square. I'm going to get these stood up into position, use the magnets to hold everything. By the way, if you're a welder, magnets are your best friend, and you know that. So we're going to get that done right now, start tacking it together, and then I can give you an idea of what we're actually doing with all of this. All right, so I went ahead, I got some of these 2-inch pieces cut down to size, and what the goal here is, I'm actually going to be using these to end up making the platform where the fridge sits on. These are basically going to be welded into place with a 1-inch gap at the top, so I have a little bit of a lip all the way around, and then the fridge is going to sit on top of that and get strapped to the sides. The reason that I'm doing it this way is because underneath now I have 5 inches of space, which leaves me with plenty of space to put in the other drawer that I wanted to have. So when I have this fridge pulled all the way out, I'm going to have another drawer underneath. I'm going to be able to pull all of that all the way out, and it's going to house my stove, cutting board, basic kitchen stuff. So that's the goal here. So the next step is get a bunch of these pieces cut, get them tacked into place, and see how it all starts coming together. One in, about 6, 7 more. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so here we are. We got everything tacked into place. We got all the runners in place. Everything's tacked together. Everything is still square. It's coming together very nicely. I'm hoping you guys can start seeing somewhat of the design. The fridge will actually sit on this top portion right here, And this portion right here will have a full another drawer extension for the outdoor kitchen side of it. Besides that, the rest of this evening, what I do plan on doing is I'm gonna get in here and fully weld this out, grind it, clean it, do all the normal prep like that, so it is ready for the next portion tomorrow. All right guys, here we are, day 2 of the build. I went ahead, I did get everything welded up, everything ground down on this portion. Everything is ready to go. A little bit of touch up here and there, I'm not too worried about at this point. I'll take care of that once everything is fully assembled and I go to tear it back down, prep it for paint. But as of right now, this portion is ready to go. Next step is building the outside housing for this, where these big bad boys are gonna be mounted to create this to actually be a slide. So let's get to it. All right, so I went ahead and I got the first couple pieces cut and ground down and cleaned up, ready to tack for the actual outside main frame for this entire setup. Basically right now I just have it mocked up, holding with some magnets in place, make sure I'm getting all my measurements right. And the next step here is to just actually come in and start tacking it together. And then again, check for tolerances, make sure it's all still right and square. And then start adding in some of my cross members that will help give this some more rigidity. And also that will actually bolt to the deck plate inside my vehicle. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, so we got the main base plate all tacked together, ready to just at least check for fitment. So let's go ahead, get the drawer slide portion, put it in here, check for our tolerances on the side, make sure we still have the right spacing for our rails, and see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and measure these out, make sure we're good. All right, we got 3/4 and 3/4, so we should be good. Obviously, I got to kind of shim it a little bit to make sure, but the tolerances overall are looking good. Maybe you guys can kind of see the idea here now, where the slides are going to go in here. This base plate will get mounted to my actual base plate in the truck, just like I was saying before. And then this full portion is actually one of the slides. So it'll be coming out like this on a slide system. And then again, it'll have the other slide that goes underneath that. All right, well, it's coming together. So next thing, I am going to finish welding this up, and then I am going to get the rails and see the fitment, see the placement, and start getting ready to mount those so I can mock everything up and see how it goes. All right, guys, so I've been messing around with this thing for quite some time now, trying to figure out the base plate to make sure it actually worked for the full system. And to be honest, I'm just not happy with it. It's got a little bit more flex than I was wanting. I just don't think it's going to really be able to support the weight of the tray with the fridge on it and then the extra extension on top of that. The 1/8 inch, I was trying to keep weight down. It's too much flex. As you can see, it's got some good movement all the way around, and it just flexes too much once the slides and the tray were in there. So I'm going to scrap this idea, and I'm going to spend tonight thinking about another way of how I can do this setup and just figure out something that's going to be a little bit stronger, maybe simplified a little bit as well, and we'll just see what I come up with. So stay tuned for the second episode.